Good morning, everyone, and welcome. I'm Dr. S.K. Singh, and I'm pleased to have you here today. We'll be exploring the basic principles of GMP with a focus on documentation. Part I in this presentation will cover fundamental concepts that are essential for ensuring quality and compliance in our processes. Over the next few slides, I'll guide you through key aspects that will help you understand and implement good manufacturing practices effectively. Let's get started. Good documentation is absolutely essential in our quality assurance system. It should be in place for all aspects of good manufacturing practice, or GMP. The main purpose of this documentation is to clearly define the specifications and procedures for all materials and methods we use in manufacturing and control processes. This helps ensure consistency and quality across the board. Documentation also plays a critical role in making sure everyone on the team knows exactly what to do and when to do it. It's about clarity and accountability. Plus, it guarantees that only authorized personnel have access to the necessary information for the release of a product, which is vital for maintaining quality and compliance. Today, we're focusing on some key principles of GMP related to documentation, specifically, the basic guidelines that underpin how we create and manage these records. Remember, good documentation isn't just about writing things down. It's about creating a reliable system that supports quality at every step. Let's take a closer look at the purpose of documentation, continuing from what we've discussed earlier. Essentially, documentation serves as the backbone of good manufacturing practices because it provides documented evidence of what has been done. This evidence is crucial for traceability, meaning we can track each step and identify where issues may have occurred. It also creates a reliable record and audit trail that can be used during investigations if needed. Furthermore, proper documentation ensures that data is available for validation, review, and even statistical analysis. This is vital for maintaining quality control and continuous improvement. The design and use of these documents depend heavily on the manufacturer. There's some flexibility here. Sometimes, several related documents are combined into one, making things more streamlined. Other times, it's better to keep them separate for clarity. All of this ties into the basic principles of GMP, good manufacturing practice, especially when it comes to documentation, which we'll explore more in this series. Overall, good documentation practices help us ensure product quality, compliance, and accountability throughout the manufacturing process. Most of us, when we're trying to complete a task, find that having some form of documentation really helps. It acts as a reference point and ensures consistency. So, what exactly is being made here? Well, we're talking about the basic principles of good manufacturing practice, or GMP. Understanding GMP is essential because it helps us maintain quality and safety in our processes. Today, we'll focus on documentation. Specifically, Part I documentation is a cornerstone of GMP because it provides a clear record of what has been done, when, and by whom. It helps us trace back steps if anything goes wrong and ensures accountability. It's important to remember that good documentation isn't just about completing forms. It's about creating accurate, clear, and reliable records that reflect actual practices. This way, everyone involved understands what was done and how it was done, which supports overall compliance and quality. As we go through this, keep in mind that documentation is fundamental to maintaining the integrity of our work and ensuring consistent product quality. So, paying attention to how we document every step is key to upholding GMP standards. And if the drawing is wrong, it can lead to serious issues down the line. That's why accuracy in documentation is so crucial. When we talk about the basic principles of GMP, documentation, especially Part I, is fundamental. It's the backbone that ensures everything is traceable and reliable. Every step, every process needs to be recorded correctly. This way, if something goes wrong, we can trace back and identify where the mistake happened. Proper documentation also helps maintain consistency, quality, and compliance with regulations. Remember, good documentation isn't just about writing things down. It's about creating a clear, accurate record that can stand up to scrutiny. This is a key part of the overall quality assurance system that keeps our products safe and effective. Let's take a closer look at the basic principles of GMP, starting with documentation, which is Part I. Documentation is absolutely critical in ensuring consistency, quality, and compliance in manufacturing processes. It serves as the foundation for traceability and accountability across all operations. When we talk about documentation in GMP, we're emphasizing that every step, decision, and change must be recorded accurately and thoroughly. This means clear, legible records that can be reviewed and audited at any time. Proper documentation helps prevent errors, ensures that procedures are followed correctly, and provides proof that quality standards are met. Remember, in GMP, good documentation practices are not just a formality. They're a key part of maintaining integrity and trust in our products and processes. So, always prioritize accuracy, completeness, and timeliness in your documentation efforts. Why are documents so important? Well, they serve as the backbone of our quality systems and compliance efforts. First, they facilitate clear communication across teams, ensuring everyone is on the same page. Without proper documentation, misunderstandings can occur, which might impact product quality or safety. Second, documentation plays a crucial role in controlling costs. By recording procedures and decisions, we avoid costly mistakes and rework. And lastly, they create an audit trail. This is vital because it provides a transparent record of what was done, when, and by whom, which is essential during inspections or investigations. Now, when we look at the basic principles of GMP, documentation is fundamental. It's not just about writing things down. It's about creating reliable, accurate, and consistent records. This is why documentation is a core part of good manufacturing practice, or GMP, and what we'll explore further in Part I of our discussion. So, in essence, proper documentation underpins quality, accountability, and continuous improvement in our manufacturing processes. Let's talk about some general principles for documentation, which are crucial in our GMP practices. First, documents should always be designed carefully, ensuring they are clear and effective. Once designed, they need to be prepared with attention to detail, making sure all the necessary information is included accurately. After preparation, reviewing these documents thoroughly is essential to catch any errors or inconsistencies. And of course, distribution must be handled with care, so everyone involved has the correct and up-to-date information. It's also very important to remember that all documentation must comply with the marketing authorization. This means that the documents should reflect the approved information and adhere to regulatory requirements. The design of your documentation plays a significant role here because well-structured documents help maintain compliance and ensure consistency across the board. Now, this ties into the basic principles of GMP, which emphasize the importance of good documentation practices. This is just the first part of our focus on documentation. Overall, good documentation is about ensuring quality, consistency, and compliance throughout the entire manufacturing and distribution process. Let's take a closer look at the style of the document. It's important to maintain a consistent and professional appearance throughout our documentation. This means using clear, straightforward language and sticking to short sentences whenever possible. Short sentences are easier to read and understand, which helps ensure everyone is on the same page. When it comes to instructions, always use the imperative form. This makes the instructions clear and direct, reducing any ambiguity. For example, say complete the form rather than you should complete the form. It's about clarity and authority. Approval of documentation is another key point. Every document must be approved, signed, and dated by the appropriate responsible persons. This ensures accountability and traceability, which are vital in good manufacturing practice environments. And remember, no document should ever be changed without proper authorization and approval. This is what we call change control. Any modifications must follow the established procedures to prevent unauthorized or accidental changes, maintaining the integrity of our documentation. Now, connecting this to the basic principles of GMP, good documentation practices are foundational. They support quality, consistency, and compliance across all operations. Proper documentation isn't just about record keeping. It's about ensuring that our processes are transparent, reproducible, and trustworthy. Now, let's delve into the general principles for document content. It's essential that all documents are clear and easy to understand. This means including key information such as the title, the nature of the document, and its objective or purpose. These elements help anyone reading the document grasp its intent quickly. Additionally, the layout should be orderly and logical, making it straightforward to follow and fill in when needed. The documents should be designed for ease of use, so they can be easily completed and checked without confusion. It's also important that the documents are clear and readable, even when copies are made, ensuring consistency across all versions. And finally, we must avoid errors, especially when copying master documents for working purposes, since mistakes can lead to compliance issues or misunderstandings. All of these points tie back to the core idea. Good documentation supports quality and compliance in our GMP systems. It's about creating documents that are transparent, accessible, and reliable, which ultimately helps us maintain high standards throughout the manufacturing process. Let's talk about some fundamental principles related to documentation control. First, it's essential that we regularly review our documents to ensure they remain accurate and relevant. This means setting up a systematic process to keep everything up to date, especially when changes are made through a proper change control system. It's equally important that once a document has been superseded, we remove it from active use to prevent any mix-ups or confusion. This keeps our documentation clean and ensures everyone is working with the most current information. Now, when it comes to distribution and retrieval, we need to have clear procedures in place so that the right people have access to the right documents at the right time. This helps maintain efficiency and compliance across the board. And don't forget about retention times for superseded documents. Even after they're replaced, there should be a defined period during which these older versions are retained, in case we need to refer back or for audit purposes. All of these practices tie back to our overall goal, maintaining high standards of GMP. Proper documentation management is more than just filing papers. It's about ensuring integrity, traceability, and quality in everything we do. This is the foundation that supports our compliance and continuous improvement efforts. Now, let's talk about some important principles for data entry. First, it's essential that all entries are clear, readable, and indelible. This means you want to avoid any ambiguity or anything that might fade over time. Design your forms to allow enough space for each entry so everything remains legible and organized. When it comes to making changes to entries, there are specific requirements. Any modifications should be signed, dated, and include a reason for the change. This ensures accountability and traceability. Also, it's important that the original entry remains readable even after the change is made. Entries should be recorded at the time of the action, not later. This helps maintain accuracy and integrity of the data. And speaking of traceability, all significant actions must be recorded properly. This way, every step can be tracked back if needed, supporting transparency and compliance. These principles tie into the basic GMP guidelines for documentation, which are fundamental to maintaining quality and consistency in our operations. Let's take a closer look at some additional principles for data entry. When it comes to electronic data processing systems, photographic methods, or other reliable means of recording information, it's essential that we follow strict protocols. These systems must operate under standard operating procedures, or SOPs, and every entry should be properly recorded and maintained. Accuracy is key, so we need to regularly check the records to ensure they are correct and complete. Access to these systems must be restricted to authorized personnel only, meaning that only trained and approved individuals can make changes or updates. To maintain security, password controls are crucial, ensuring that only the right people can access sensitive data. Every entry made should be checked for errors or discrepancies, helping us prevent mistakes before they can impact quality or compliance. All of these practices tie into the basic principles of good manufacturing practice, or GMP. Proper documentation isn't just about recording information. It's about creating a reliable, traceable record that supports quality and compliance. This is especially important in pharmaceutical or regulated environments, where maintaining accurate, secure, and well-controlled data is fundamental to our overall quality system. Now, let's move on to some key principles regarding data entry, specifically when it comes to batch records stored electronically. It's essential that these records are protected to maintain their integrity and confidentiality. This means implementing secure systems and access controls to prevent unauthorized modifications. Additionally, we need reliable backup transfer methods, such as magnetic tapes, microfilms, or even paper printouts, to ensure data preservation in case of system failures. Importantly, these records must be kept for at least 1 year after the expiry date of the product, giving us a sufficient window for review or inspections. During this retention period, the data should always be readily available, allowing quick retrieval when needed. These practices are fundamental parts of good manufacturing practices, or GMP, and they highlight the importance of thorough documentation. Proper record-keeping not only supports compliance, but also ensures traceability and accountability throughout the manufacturing process. Now, let's take a closer look at the different types of documentation that support GMP. First, we have labels, which provide essential information about the product, including identification, usage instructions, and expiry dates. Next are specifications and testing procedures, which ensure that each batch meets the required quality standards through detailed testing protocols. Master formulae and instructions are critical because they serve as the definitive guide for manufacturing processes, ensuring consistency and accuracy every time. Batch processing and batch packaging records document the production and packaging of each batch, providing traceability and accountability. Standard operating procedures, or SOPs, are the backbone of consistent operations. They clearly outline how tasks should be performed to maintain quality and compliance. Records, in general, include stock control and distribution records, which track the movement and availability of materials and finished products, ensuring proper inventory management. And of course, there are other documents that support various aspects of GMP compliance. All of these different types of documentation are interconnected and fundamental to maintaining control, traceability, and quality assurance throughout the manufacturing process. They form the backbone of GMP, ensuring that every step is documented, verified, and in line with regulatory standards. Let's now focus on the basic principles of GMP, specifically on documentation. Part I documentation is a fundamental aspect because it ensures that every step of the manufacturing process is recorded accurately. This way, we can trace back what was done, when it was done, and by whom. It's all about maintaining transparency and accountability. Good documentation practices help prevent errors, ensure consistency, and support compliance with regulatory standards. Remember, clear and precise records are essential not only for quality control, but also for audits and inspections. So, in essence, proper documentation is the backbone of good manufacturing practices, helping us to uphold product integrity and patient safety. Photographs can actually serve as important documents in herbal identification, but it's crucial that they are properly authorized and controlled. This means that any photo used should be verified and stored securely to ensure accuracy and traceability. When it comes to good manufacturing practices, or GMP, documentation is fundamental. It helps maintain consistency and quality in our processes. Today, I want to focus on the first part of documentation, which is about establishing clear and reliable records. Proper documentation not only supports compliance, but also builds confidence in our herbal products. Remember, every document, including photographs, must be handled with care and proper authorization to ensure they contribute effectively to our quality system. So, integrating well-managed photographs into our documentation processes can be a valuable part of herbal identification, and overall GMP compliance. Flow charts provide a lot of information at a glance, making complex processes easier to understand quickly. They are a great visual tool to see how different steps connect and where potential issues might arise. Moving on to the basics of GMP, or good manufacturing practice, documentation is a fundamental part of ensuring quality and compliance. When we talk about documentation, Part I, we're focusing on the importance of keeping accurate, clear, and complete records. These records serve as evidence that all procedures are followed correctly and consistently. Good documentation not only helps in maintaining quality standards, but also plays a crucial role during audits and inspections. It's about creating a reliable trail that shows what was done, when, and by whom. This is essential to ensure accountability and continuous improvement in our processes. So, as we go through GMP principles, remember that thorough documentation is the backbone of quality management and regulatory compliance. Now, moving on to slide 19, let's talk about the types of documentation. As you can see, there are different kinds of documents we need to understand in the context of GMP. These will be discussed in more detail in the next part, Documentation, Part 2. For now, it's important to recognize that documentation is a critical component of GMP because it ensures consistency, traceability, and accountability in all our processes. This slide is also part of our broader discussion on basic principles of GMP, specifically focusing on documentation, Part I. The key takeaway here is that documentation isn't just about writing things down. It's about creating a reliable record that supports quality and compliance. In our industry, proper documentation helps prevent errors, facilitates audits, and ensures that everyone is on the same page. So, understanding the different types of documents and their purposes is fundamental to maintaining high standards and adhering to regulatory requirements. Remember, good documentation practices are the backbone of a compliant and efficient operation. For further support, please contact us. We're here to help you with any questions or additional assistance you might need. Don't hesitate to reach out. Your success is our priority. Thank you for your time and commitment throughout this presentation.